Welcome back, predecessor fans. Philly and Falcon here for game number 2 of Team Immune versus VVMM's Many Men's. The winner of this series will punch their ticket to the grand finals and guaranteed money as part of the PCC Summer Series EU. We had a 50-minute game, Falcon for number 1. I don't know, with these squads, might not go the distance again.
I'm still not completely recovered from last game, Philly. I'm going to be honest. I'm still in shock, in awe, in many different emotions of what I witnessed. But there is no time to think about that anymore. We are in game 2. It is do or die for Team Immune. They need to win this. And what they have chosen is apparently attack speed howitzer. The augment that ManQ has chosen is going to be that cannon gives the extra attack speed on hit, stacks up to 6 times, is probably the least used augment out of all 3 from Howitzer. I'm not entirely sure what the reason is behind ManQ's choice in that. He hasn't gone the Typhoon either, so he isn't going to be using that extra damage from that. Might just be using it for poke.
Yeah, very interesting. Or maybe they decide to put him as like the carry 3 or carry 2, right? So you go Sparrow with the damage and Howie damage, then with the Conte on the Zarus is your damage, and then Terra just builds kind of full tank front line. So very interesting choice. Very excited to see how that plays out. A matchup here, though. Terra into the Sevrog, my friend. Not one we see every day.
Definitely not. Sevrog, I mean, some people play him, but it's not as popular in EU compared to the NA side of things. Terra is going to be able to probably control this lane from start to finish. Especially once you hit that level 6, having that CC immunity means you can just dodge the subjugate, dodge Colossal Blow, able to walk down Bondrude. And early on, Secret already been forced to blink, has got that level 2 first from Team Immune, meaning that just that extra damage was too dangerous. Wants to keep his HP high as possible. It's going to have that extra jump as well at level 3, so he's not going to be in too much danger losing it. And because he blinked so early, he is still pretty healthy. He can still stay in this lane, but just has to be a bit careful of any ganks coming through.
Yeah, we do see Conte on the Zarus making his way to the blue side. So, you know, if the lane goes the way of the Dusk, he can definitely make a gank. But that Sparrow Steel lane is so oppressive. It's so hard to get onto that Sparrow. You can put the shield wall down, just free fire behind it. I mean, so much to like. Friend, we were talking about in the green room, Secret playing on this Rampage support. Didn't do anything wrong last game, didn't do anything crazy out of the blue, was just there to absorb damage, get a couple stuns in. Likely to do the same thing again, kind of like a low budget steal, if you will. But then we look at the jungles, and there's just high tempo for both of these characters.
It's going to be very interesting to see what Ven does in this early game. You want as many stacks as you can as quickly as possible. Playing the same route gives you the extra percent attack damage on the character, but it looks like Conte is going to catch up with Ven.
Those two, they're just going to be duking it out there. Ven did go with the augment that enhances his ultimate, so that will allow for the little micro stun as well as the execute. So he won't be taking those trades willy-nilly, especially with Conte's Gladiator passive that'll be healing him up. Right now, though, there's a little bit of a scuffle in the offlane over that cyan buff, and a scuffle here over the gold buff. Penguin does dash in, but Segu will get it with the Vaporize, but will Penguin expend his life? He puts down the shield wall. Looks like the kill potential is here. One more shot will do it, and first blood goes the way of Sagu. Penguin overextended.
He has Blink. He has Blink, Billy, and he decides not to use it. That is it's a choice, and that choice is going to give First Blood over to the side of Many Men's. Not much else to really say. Good job, Penguin, on getting the gold buff, and we'll continue from there. Now, going back to the mid lane, we've seen ManQ a little bit with this augment, but nothing really has come of it. Maya's not really any lower compared to ManQ. Hasn't really taken that much poker damage compared to this howitzer, so we'll have to see if that's maybe more of a team fighting augment and see how that all goes.
Yeah, and he did build Dusk Staff first, which can go into Soulbinder, Orb of Growth, Combustion, Megacosm, so a lot of different items which could all kind of work with that build, so very interesting there. Segu did get the augment that increases his Vaporize range. That could be why Penguin didn't want to expend the Blink, because Vaporize probably could have sniped him from that range. So kind of some discipline there. But I'm not sure if he got the gold buff, my friend. I think Segu got it and then was able to get the first blood. So we'll have to see next time we pan over to him what items he has. Currently, though, the Fangtooth is online. We see a lot of members in blue gathered on this side.
Conte not level 6, same with Ben. Junglers really want to hit those ultimate power spikes first before they start this Fangtooth, but it looks like Team Moon is just going to go for it. They have the priority in the dual lane. Mankyu is able to get the first rotation, but most importantly, look at Morose. He has the rotation from solo lane. He's able to control the mid lane, make sure that there's nothing lost in that area, and if there is a rotation from the side of Mayor, from the side of Ben, he can immediately respond to it, and that basically chess play has allowed Team Moon to get to that first Fangtooth on the map. Ven is going to try and take this red buff. Again, a bit deja vu here. And once again, he's just going to run away from it.
These rotations perfect, and that was because Morose was able to get priority in the lane. He goes for the wild rush in, and wild indeed. The subjugate does not connect because the unstoppable has been popped. Now Bondrude, he's been shoved into a locker. Looks like the R2000 will hit him, shove him back a little bit further. The blink expended from Ben, a little bit scared there, even though the Coliseum not online. The chase is on, but I think the chase will be given up. Nobody falls yet here in the offlane.
Conte got subjugated by Bondrude, was able to be rooted in place long enough for Ven to get out. It does look like he's going to try and maybe stop the back going around. Bondrude isn't going to get out just yet. Ven does get the reset successfully. Maya has returned back to the mid lane, means that he's able to try and press out this wave onto tower. Might get one of the plates available, but we can already see Mankyu is going to return, has enough wave clear as this Howitzer to make sure he has any sort of defense available. And it's been a very slow start to this game, and I think this entire series has been rather slow as a thing. I mean, 50-minute game, that's gonna happen. But even last game, we had multiple kills in the first 10 minutes. We had action across the board. This one has been kind of more measured, trying to just gauge what each team is doing. It's very careful, very making sure that they don't do anything dangerous, unlike what Penguin did earlier, but we'll gloss over that part.
And it could be because of the junglers, right? Wanting to get to that level 6 first before they decide to make an impact, where in game 1, Conte on the Richter, you just need one Riplash, get somebody out of their position, and then you can take them down. So, you can have a little bit of early game pressure with that. But now we see the level 6 on the junglers. Their ultimates online. They can make moves, but right now the move being made is towards the mini Prime. Mankyu and Morose. So many M's in that sentence. They're going to be looking to take the mini robot down, but Mayor is here as well as Bondrude. Conte now into the mix. It's a 4v2. The mini Prime will go the way of the Dawn side. Looks like the exit kills might come through. They do dive in. It's Mayor with the huge black hole, but it does get stunned out immediately. The make it rain from Mankyu as well. The pelt in the Mishal. There's the up down from Penguin. Locks up to Secret. He goes Behemoth, but really it's just to stay alive. Conte finds one in the background. Now it's Bondrude who just gets shoved into the corner. He goes for a massive colossal blow. Hits on to 2. The subjugate doesn't connect, and the R2000 will take him down. It's a turnaround here for TI.
Team Moon just playing it so clean, make sure they have the numbers, takes the Orb Prime, or the Mini Prime, sorry, immediately turns around, knows that they have the advantage as soon as that black hole went away. I'm not entirely sure what got the stun onto it, but it was so fast. Such good reaction times from whoever did that. And then the team fight was just clean. There was no sort of close calls, nothing like that. It was able to be completely overall Team Immune's favor, and I feel like it's just the aggression for many men. They didn't need to take that fight. They could have just given up that mini Prime when they knew they were outnumbered at the start. Once that was taken, they should have just backed up immediately instead of going for that fight.
Yeah, find a different trade, right? We talked about, Falcon, it's a chess match. If you take something, I'll take something else. Right? So, okay, go for an invade on the blue side or find a tower plate somewhere else, right? You know you're at a disadvantage. They rotated 4 members. The Sparrow was on their lonesome in that dual lane. Maybe make a rotation over there, but it was not to be. 3 kills go the way of Team Immune. They're going to be setting up for the second Fangtooth. I can't believe it's already time for that. The The supports kind of duking it out, the beefy boys punching each other, but it's all just to create a little bit of space here for dinosaur number 2.
And with that mini prime, Zarus is going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. Hasn't got that Colosseum, hasn't got the blink. In fact, there's not really much from either side at the moment. We can see that Secret just got his ultimate back, getting that Goliath form. And I mean, Team Moon, they have the advantage, they have the wards, they have the first movement in a place. You can already see Morris rotating from the solar side as well. Many men, against not really being together, not really being cohesive in this early game. Bondru just going to reset. Honestly, I feel like they just want to maybe just give this up unless they can delay for as long as possible to allow Bondru to come back in. It seems to be the case.
Yeah, he's floating his way over here. He's going to show face as all good offlaners should do for Fangtooth number 2. But it's about the engage. How does VVMN get into some of these fights, right? It's really going to be on Bondru to kind of tank up, take a couple shots, and then allow the assassin of Feng Mao to clean up some of those kills, even getting Secret in there just to jump on people and cause some havoc. So, but it's kind of difficult to execute those things. Looks like for now, though, nobody will go for the Fangtooth. There will be a play made here in the duo lane, potentially. A lot of posturing, but nobody fighting just yet. Finally, Penguin, he bull rushes Secret into the river, but that's where the fish wants to be, in the jungle to get his regen online. Penguin has just been all over the place, slapping people left and right.
Again, Team Moon does have the advantage in these skirmishes. They just poked out Saggy, poked out Secret. Now we've got a return, though.
And there's a massive Coliseum. Again, it will be a stack. The jungler finds his opposite number. Mayor goes over the top with the black hole, but the Make It Rain finds him. It's a 2-for-1 trade here so far. Now the inner fire from downtown slicing through the Reaper of Souls. Bondru will go down. It will be Sagu to take the blast cone to escape. And that will be Fangtooth number 2 going the way of Team Immune.
And again, it was just completely clean from the side of Team Moon. Yes, they lost Penguin, but the black hole was on 3 people, and it didn't seem to do really that much damage. BanQ and Neff were completely unaffected. They were able to get their ults off in full on the enemy backline, and that just created so much damage, so much momentum for Team Moon. They got those kills, able to reset back to the Fangtooth, get that second one on. Probably not as fast as they would have liked. I imagine they probably would have wanted it within the 10-minute mark, but the third Fangtooth is still going to spawn 20 minutes. That's the important part. Get that third Fangtooth before the Orb Prime spawns. It gives them such a better position to be in for when that Orb Prime fight starts.
The wild thing, though, Falcon, is that in that fight, the Sparrow, Neft, wasn't even in there for most of it until finally they decided to come through just to take down Bondru. So if you imagine if Neft was in that entire fight, holy moly, it would have been a ton of damage. So that just shows the scalability of that Sparrow getting those relentless stacks online. I was seeing, as we were looking through some of the characters on the Dawn side, a lot of serrated blades, which lead to tainted rounds, tainted blades, etc. And Q, under a little bit of pressure here, doesn't have the Make It Rain, though, that causes Conte to kind of come to the aid of his mid laner. Morose called in as well. They'll shepherd him to get back to safety. A good engage there with the Colossal Blow, but not the follow-up there to take the mid laner down.
Mayor just dropping down from where ManQ was going to spawn. That extra distance on Colossal Blow probably just be a bit surprising to him. And it meant that ManQ basically got off scot-free, wasn't able to, doesn't need to have blown anything. Now that Mini Prime has been taken, given over to Morose on this Terror, who 1-0-4, surprisingly done a lot in this game.
And there's the dive coming through. The Coliseum drop to separate Bondru from the rest of his squad. It's Mayor who puts in the black hole, protects himself with the wall, but everybody had already retreated, so no damage done. A disciplined play here from TI. They know they got the objective. They got what they came for. They're going to back out as the health bars are low, but right now, painted in purple is Morose, and he's got the target on his back. Penguin here to be the best support in the league to keep his offlaner alive. ManQ as well with a barrage of rockets. Bondru just doing his best to put in some damage, but after it's all said and done, the dust settles. Nobody down, nobody worse for wear. The Prime still on Morose.
And I feel like that entire fight just shows how good of a composition Team Union has for disengaging in these team fights. Many events, they have CC, they have got this several, they have got this Rampage that can lock down a target, but just was not able to find anyone. Penguin doing such a good job of just delaying any sort of engage on them. The landmine coming in from Howitzer, the slow coming in from Neft. I don't know how in these later team fights, Many Men's is actually going to get onto this back line, because they're already struggling 15 minutes into the game, and I don't think it's going to get any better the later the game goes.
My friend, I'm worried about the damage numbers. Where's the DPS? Like, it's going to be on the Twin Blast, but that's about it. Whereas you look on the other side, I mean, you do have Conte on the Zars who will scale. He's got the Ascend perk, right? So he'll get that physical power and HP. And then the Howitzer picked up the Life Binder. I thought that's what he was going to go, especially with that augment to his basic attack to get extra stacks. So you have 3 different avenues for damage, where on the other side, there's just one. You can see Secret now. He's getting blown up by the Inner Fire, has to expend the Blink, but it is Neft who gets turned upon. Venom strikes the fangs into the heart of the Sparrow. Snakes eat birds every day of the week. Penguin using the Shield Slam to get out. He won't fall, but the carry goes down.
And the tower is also going to go down. Morose with this mini prime and with no opposition, Bondry being late to the lane is going to get that entire tower free. It's going to be traded over in the duo side. Ven and Sagu should be able to pick this up, with, even with the fact that Conte is going to be over here. I don't think Conte really wants this. It is level 11, has got the Colosseum online, has got Penguin nearby, but again, it's just a bit too dangerous to go in, especially the fact that Sagu and Ven is the damage from the side of Many Men's. They are the ones that are going to be doing probably 60-70% of the damage in these team fights, and they are going to be the main carries. So with the third Fangtooth now spawned, we can see that multiple resets have come through from both sides. Morose has reset from the right-hand side, isn't going to have the mini prime available for this. Actually, I think he will just, but it needs to be started up quickly for Team Immune.
It's positioning though, and it's VVMN that has it at this moment. Bondra, though, who is the front line, he's kind of doing a pincer maneuver with the side of Ben here from the mid lane, and that leaves the rest of the team open. Neff just runs down Seeker. He's like, I didn't get you before, but I got you now. There goes the support down, and now the positioning given over to the Dawn side. They'll be able to at least start the Fangtooth. It's about whether they can finish it. I think they're going to look to burn this one as quickly as possible, folks. I'm seeing a lot of check marks for the ultimates online. Here is Mayer. He goes into the backline again with the black hole, but the make it rain to counter. He's been pressured out immediately. Once again, Manq finds his opposite number, and there's the bull rush in. The Coliseum dropped on top. The ultimate's working to perfection. The colossal blow to push a couple people away, deny the dive, but it will be his life for it. 3 go down, make it for that Inner Fire. Absolutely shredding kids. The TB did as best that he could, but all for naught. 3 Fangteeth for the side of TI.
This is the point where many men have to be worried, or even maybe thinking about game 3, because that is such a shutdown statement from the side of Team Immune. Gets the Fangtooth clean, gets the picks up basically every single person. Secret only just respawned, so that was all 5 members of Many Men's going down, losing only 2 in response. It looked like Sagu was going to clean up for a moment. Manq was very low, but just the stun from Conte into that Inner Fire, which somehow wasn't used in that entire team fight, blew that Trim Blast completely up. And now, with this third Fangtooth, 320 minutes, what I was saying earlier, Philly, with the Orb Prime now being the big contention, there's very little Many Men's can actually do to stop this.
And they don't have Black Hole. That's been their main engage tool. That's been how they started each and every fight. Without it, it's going to be hard pressed for them to do so here. They might be waiting for that crucial cooldown, but as they wait for it, might be too late. Right now, Ben, he's making his way to the mid lane. Could be a contentious spot. Penguin chasing after him. If they get the jungle down, it's definitely going to be the go button to go on the mini prime. The rest of the team there, though, to help shepherd him back to safety. All the while, Bond Druid in the off lane takes down that tier 1 tower. He's going to be looking to put a little bit of pressure on the map like he did in game 1.
Bond Druid may not be playing the Countess, may not be playing a Countess with the most damage, but he's still going to keep his older tricks up and available, going to try and get as many stacks as he can in this mid game. Not max rank yet, really wants that final stat to get that aura to that max HP damage, which will do quite a lot in these team fights. Again, I'm just worried. Like, is he going to be able to survive Neff's ultimates? Is he going to be able to survive Mankey ultimates? He is the main front line for the side of many men's in this game. We've got to remember that Secret is a support. He's not going to have really any items. Has got that dynamo, has got those treads. So in terms of just straight up stats, he is pretty squishy.
For sure. And, you know, maybe you're not always taking fights in the jungle where you get the little extra buff to regen, etc. You know, you're fighting in lane and he can be shredded quite easily. But I'm looking at the tower state here, my friend, and the pressure has been pretty good from the side of Dusk, right? You can see that dual lane tower, barely a leg to stand on, some extra little pressure in that mid lane too. Or on the other side, there's still a couple towers available for the taking right now, though. Tons of vision littered across the map. These teams are preparing for what comes next.
And it's mainly from the side of many men's. They want to just make sure that if Team Moon makes any sort of play, they are aware of it. Maya is already going to start rotating from, it was going to rotate from the zero side, but it is having a second thought. So we can see that, again, this Team Moon has control of this area, has cleared those wards out as best as they can, did miss a few from Conte, might be able to sweep those up, and it's just waiting around, just making sure that if many men makes a mistake, makes a macro error in this game, they can immediately pounce.
My friend, I just don't see the vision here for VVMM. Like, what are they supposed to do? It just seems like it's on the Gideon to just jump in, cause a little bit of chaos, and then maybe you get some cleanup kills from there. But if you don't have that engage tool, who goes next? It's going to be Mondruid? Okay, well, he's going to get blown up by the inner fire. Is it going to be Secret? He's not really building the right items to be full on tanky just yet. So it's very difficult for them to find their footing in some of these engagements.
The only real benefit I feel like for VVMM right now is that there's very little that Team Immune can do to actually stop that black hole. There's a lot of damage they can do onto the Gideon. They can just burst him, which is probably going to be the actual game plan, but there's no real aerial CC. You have the Steel, who is mainly ground-based. You have got the House of Landmine. Again, you have to be on the ground for that. So they can get a full black hole off, but it's a question of, can they keep Team Immune in there? And even if they do, is it going to be enough damage to actually turn the tides?
That is a good question. Only one way to find out is that's when the next time these teams clash, and it could be right here, right now. A jungle invade could go awry for them. Secret, just toss a rock in, say, hey, don't follow us any further here, friends. But there is the Highland Hurl for the side of Morose that I think can take the wizard out of the sky. But if he has True Silver Bracelet, then, you know, they have to put in a little bit of damage first. The Unstoppable popped, though. That's a crucial cooldown for the side of Morose, who is level 16. He's 2 levels up on his opposite number, Bondred.
Just classic Morose things there. Just having that experience. It is quite an easy lane against us. Everyone, he's not going to be able to do anything. That is all Prime started up. We can see that many men is going to try and trade it out with the Primal. This is their best option. Again, Bondred, there's not really anything here you can do. The best thing he needs to do right now is just delay him. Make sure that they don't get to this Primal, even if it costs him his life. Because if they get nearby, there is a chance for a steal, there's a chance for a team fight, and they will just lose.
And I think he's going to expend his life for it. He was probably also sniping the numbers as well to say, like, okay, you have this much time, you have this much time. And now they get the trade. At this point, though, with still some T2s up, I kind of like the Prime buff better, as you can see it right there. Some extra gold going their way. Conte, there's no way he's going to try to find some exit kills here. He did stop a couple with the Spear of Near, but, I mean, what does that really do? I guess it creates space for the inhibitor to go down, friend. What?
It might be the game, because they're still pushing on. Neft is going to be taken down to the core. They're just walking back to the core. They are going to be able to stop this. This is going to be maybe the end of the aggression. Tier 1, Tier 2 towers on those side lanes. There's nothing else for Team Immune to take in the base, but there is plenty in the jungle. And Conte, that was a big play. It didn't look like that. But if multiple people were able to back, there is a good chance that the inhibitor might have not gone down, because they still have the final buff. They still have a lot of damage that could have been done from the likes of Ven, from the likes of Sagu, even Maya. And now just the retreat, the runaway call has been made from Team Immune. They got everything they could in that back. Let's spend that money. In case of Morose, that's 3.2 thousand, basically an entire item, and let's get even stronger.
Oh my goodness. And I love that play. And they rotate effectively through the blue side jungle, knowing it was up because in that previous engagement, they went to the red side, saw nothing was available. So they retreated effectively, took out even more farms. So even a major economic blow for the Dusk side not being able to farm that up. Now they have extra creep pressure being pushed into the mid lane, which allows space to be opened up around the map. You can see that tier 1 tower going down, looking to put some pressure on the tier 2 as well. So this is how they stranglehold the match, Team Immune. They're just going to constrict you until there's nothing left.
And once again, Morose is doing this push duty on the opposite side of the map. Create that space for the rest of his team to do what they can. VVMM is trying to look for something, but once again, they're just not able to secure any purchase on any members of Team Immune. Just the CC is not there. Now with 5 members over here, Morose knows he has this tower for complete freedom. Even with Ben coming over, the minions is going to be more than enough for this to be taken. And now with the last 2 inhibitors under threat, VVMM, they need to make a decision. Do they try and do the team fight on the left side of the map, or do they try and just kill Morose?
And that is a tough situation, one I would not want to be in right now. Neft, he's got 3 buffs on him too. He's feeling beefy. He wants to take some fights. You can feel it. They want to close this game out and send it to game number 3. All of the minions are charging towards the base here. It's going to have to be a good defense from the side of VVMM. They have to take those creeps down, but that inhib going down first. A nice shield slam though, but dodged effectively just to create a little bit of space for Morose and company to take down that 3rd inhibitor. Friend, you're thinking that this could be the end. There's no neutral objectives. There's nothing on the map for them to retreat and take. Could be one final buy, and then it's to the core.
Their team, they're not playing any chances on this. They want to make sure that they take this win nice and cleanly. Get as much money as they can, get as many items as they can. The Orb Prime is going to run off by the time they come back, but we can already see over a 10,000 gold difference between the 2 teams. This is mainly on, I was going to say mainly on the ADC, because that's not much of a difference. This is mainly on this offlane. Morose 15,500, Bondru 12.5. That is a bigger difference. I mean, Morose is level 18 at this point in time. The highest level on many men's right now is 16 from Bondru. 2 level difference at that stage of the game is mind-boggling.
He's been playing extremely well, rotating effectively, finding these waves, getting that experience is just as important as getting those items online. I do wanted to draw folks' attentions to the amount of assists, 31 assists over 12 kills. That's like almost triple, right? But this is Penguin maybe dying for the vision here, has the bull rush to get out though, and goes off the top rope. So he'll be fine just for now. But the 31 assists, that's a ton of extra gold in the pocket, not just the structures. It's that teamwork that's elevating TI here.
Yeah, so it's a story of how Team Immune is playing in this game. They're not going for these single 1v1 team fights and getting the victories from that. They're playing together. They are knowing that as a team, they are better. And now, VVMM, they can't even enter the jungle.
Oh my gosh, what? Bondru just deleted there, the inner fire.
That's a tank.
Slicing through him, and that's the tank, you're right. Didn't look like, it looked more like a feather pillow. Holy smokes. And with the Bondru down, it will be time for the Primal Fang. Also in that fight, one slowing grenade field from ManQ just chunked like a 1/3 of the health from Bondru as well. So this damage output from ManQ has just been insane. Then he'll say, okay, well, I'll have to find a trade somewhere. Maybe that tier 1 that's still standing somehow. All the while, the 4th Fangtooth and a Primal Fangtooth that will go the way of Team Immune.
I mean, he's going to try and escape. Morose is going to follow as much as he can. Has got that dash, has got that Highland Ho. He's going to follow through. I think Ven's going to try and go for the teleporter. Actually going to go for the blast tower. Going to go and try and knock top and misses. Just continues to use the abilities. Tries to get those slows. Whilst this is happening, that doesn't matter anymore. The Orb Prime is going to be starting. Morose is going to blink. Probably not needed, but why not at that point? Ven is going to go for this is just a chase of the century right now, but it doesn't matter because look at the rest of the team. They're all pushing up mid lane.
Ben, I'm reporting you for inting, bro. You're just taking all the time. You need to get back to your team because your base is under siege. There is another inhib down, and just as soon as it respawned, it is eliminated. Now it's a 4v4 at the core. It's a party in the Dusk base, and everybody's invited. The alarms now are blaring. Looks like double bubble buff for the Dawn side. They're going to be looking to put the hurting on that core, and still we find this wild goose chase. Eventually, Morose, you got to give this up and just finish the game, please. The core, though, will go down, and ladies and gentlemen, we will go to a game number 3 between Team Immune and VVMM's Many Men's.
That game couldn't have been more different from the first game. Just complete domination from Team Immune. There was real no chance of VVMM's to come back in that game. It was clean, it was coordinated. It felt like Team Immune didn't get dragged into the aggression of VVMM's in that early game. They knew that if they just played their own game, they would get the lead, they would get the victory around those objectives. And from then, it was just the case of, it was like a completely different team from game 1.
Absolute macro precision from the side of Team Immune. They followed the flowchart to perfection, as we know they are apt to do, right? Go from objective to objective, structure to structure. But for me, it was VVMM's. Their team comp I didn't feel like I knew how it was going to execute. It just seemed like they were trying to do too many things, and then they did nothing well. So an unfortunate error for them, but that's why this is a best of 3. They'll probably be able to change that one in their draft. We knew this one was going to go the distance, my friend, and I'm absolutely here for it.
That is definitely the case. We have got that third game. First game was 50 minutes. The second game was 30 minutes. I doubt we're going to get a 10-minute game. I don't think that's going to happen. But that is where we are going so far. However, both teams have got one apiece. Both teams can show that they can win these games. It is still anyone's to play for. And, I mean, we'll have to see. But first, the desk. You need to break that game down.
Thank you, Falcon and Philly. A different style of game we saw into compared to game 1. Of course, Team Immune not going to get swept. Anybody that's been following the EU competitive predecessor scene knows better than to expect Neff to get 2-0'd or 0-2'd. F6 and Blue Jay, what was the difference?
Well, welcome back, everybody. It's Philly and Falcon for game number 3 between VVMM and Team Immune. My goodness, friend, a trip to the grand finals on the line, guaranteed money. We've said it each and every game. We're taking a look at the augments here. Everybody kind of going for what is tried and true. What's standing out for me is Conte picking up the augment that helps his ultimate, provides a little bit of stun, because Team Immune, not many stuns or lockdowns on their side. They're going to need every bit of CC they can get.
That is definitely the case. I mean, do you have got Victor? Victor is one of the kings of CC, especially with that Rick class, that skill. It can lock down an entire team if it connects on multiple people. And I do think that knock up on Feng Mao is just so strong. It is a bit ridiculous in how high you fly into the air. And for the likes of Mancue and Neff to get a free hit on that target, it does basically guarantee that kill. But also, we finally have a Rampage back in the jungle. Secret got bored of the Rampage, wants to play a different off pick, so has seen Penguin play earlier, saw the Krang and said, I can do that just as good as you.
Yeah, so very interesting to see how they get that done. I mean, we've seen Revenant Quang lanes just run through people. So going to be looking at Secret to make an impact. Been quiet throughout the series so far, but we know he's one of the better players on the EU side. Looking at him in this one for, is the final match of this best of 3. On the other side, though, Conte, my Italian brother, he's on the Feng Mao. I love Feng Mao in the jungle. We've seen so far through this tournament and today how effective he can be on this character.
He definitely can be, but we saw also that Ben didn't have the best of times on that character last game. Lack of CC once again from the game 2 Many Men's draft was a big talking point, and Conte's kind of got the same issue. Has gone for that Warriors Crest, is going to go for that more bruiser build, maybe augmentation first item instead of the Mind Razor. Isn't going to have that assassination damage, but is going to be a bit more tanky, a bit more survivable in the team fights to try and just get more of those abilities off to help the rest of his team.
100%. I mean, and we're seeing 2 pick compositions basically from both of these squads. They're not going for huge wombo combo ultimates. I mean, for the side of TI, I think their ultimate combination's a little bit better, right? You can skewer into Black Hole, even put the Stoneforge Soul on top of it, which I believe Morose took that augmentation that enhances that ability. So a little bit better, but still, Veni Vens. I mean, you get in a good Cryoseism into the Fury of the Heavens, that can put in a ton of magical damage that you're not aware of. So, got to be careful if you are Team Immune coming into some of these fights. But still, they're going to be looking for picks before they start any of those big engagements.
I do love how Ven just shadowed Mayor there, made sure that he would be able to pick up the rebuff for free. Now, yes, the Rock Grit Blast is going to follow through, but the CC is going to be more than enough. Blink is used by Penguin going out towards the river. Conte is going to follow through, just dashing back forth through the heroes, but the size of that minion wave from the side of many men meaning that any team fight team would have taken what's going to be basically a guaranteed loss. A good heads up play by them saying we should not be fighting here, let's just back up, let's reset, let's just keep this wave frozen as best as we can by the tower. And that's going to mean that Ven is going to have to spend more time just to buy this wave, just making sure that the dual lane of many events is safe.
Those minions do a lot of damage early on, and so if you can get even one plate, facilitate Neff that much more, that would be, you know, Sublime or Sagu. Sorry, Sagu is on the Dawn side this time. If you can facilitate him that much more on the Revenant, get a plate early, that would be huge for your side. Right now, a quick invade for Conte, getting that 2 camp. That's an all important. That's the most experience on the jungle side, is getting those 2 guys down. And so he does. Ven now a little bit worse for wear here on his red.
And that's just because of how long he had to spend in the dual lane, as we were saying earlier. It gave the opening for Conte. Team Mean knew that there was probably going to be Ven camping that lane just in case. It gave an opportunity for the Feng Mao to get over there. Still not a actual level lead, and just hit level 5 now compared to Ven's level 4 we see it now. And a big issue with that as well is that Ven is probably going to get the Wild Hunt before Conte is going to get the Wild Hunt before Ven. At this point, he's going to have that 1000 true damage on the objectives compared to the 500 from the Rampage. So if Team Immune wants to look for an earlier Fangtooth, they have a sizable advantage with that.
Yeah, those hunt steals could be huge, especially with how quick the Fang Mao can get in and out of the pit. Right now, the River Bugs really kind of the only thing on the board for teams to take, and they go 1 apiece to either sides. Folks will be trading left and right here across the maps. The Aurora Bondro did take the augment that facilitates her passive, so she's going to be looking to take those trades early and often in this contest. The junglers really favoring this dual lane side. They want to facilitate their carries to get into this game.
Both teams have got very good carries. Team Immune has basically always been on Neff's backpack, so having Neff be so strong on this barrel is going to be always a boon for them. But Conte might be looking for something else, maybe looking for a tower dive, but Maya calls it out perfectly, backs behind this tower, made sure there's no chance for anything else. And now Penguin face directs Ven.
And he's got no blink to boot here. It's a good knock up there. And the Rip Flash is even better to reel in the fish. The pounce coming through here for Ven. He knows he can't give up his life. Secret, he'll be taking all the shots that he can. Allows Sagu to kind of trade health bars. He's going into the front line. Conte, he is going to dash out. They think they've done enough poke damage to at least start the Fangtooth, but if I know Team Immune, they're going to start it, wait for the other team to collapse, and then turn upon them. There it is. The Black Hole is massive into the Rip Flash as well to get Mayor out of there, but he doesn't fall just yet. Sagu now with the 4-round revolver. He's popping all the shots. It's in hunt range. Can anybody get the Fangtooth down? It will go the way of Veni Ven's many men's. They also get the exit kills to boot. That is a huge for the Dawn side.
Mayor, he just was there doing so much damage in that team fight at the start, and then Secret with that double knockup saved the entire team fight. He did sizable amounts of damage to Conte, forced him out of the pit. I believe the Synaptic Obliterator from May is what caught that first blood on the back line, and then Ven was just able to easily pick up the Fangtooth. There was 2 members of Team Min left in that pit, unable to get away from Sagu, who is 2-0-1, picks up the Vanquisher on this Revenant. We have been saying this entire tournament, both EU and NA, that Revenant is an absolute monster come that late game, and now, many events, they have a online Revenant.
is really scary at 7.5 minutes into the game. Think maybe a little bit of an ambitious call from the side of Team Immune to go for that. They had some poke damage onto the Dawn members, but not enough for them to re-engage, and they did so quickly. And especially, you have the advantage of being closer to the Fangtooth on the Dawn side, so they could re-engage that much more quickly. So right now, at a 3-0 deficit and one Fangtooth down for the side of Dawn, or Dusk rather, but it's Conte who jumps right in. He gets the knockup onto Secret with the Rip Flash. It's a perfect execution. The inner fire shreds through Secret. The Reckoning has to be used to go to the Netherworld, so he dodges the damage there. That's a great combination play from the side of TI.
But it gives a chance of any events many men to start up the mini fight. Maya Bonju, they have control over their lanes. Ven is able to get here first as well. It may be given over to Bonju. I imagine there's no real contention from the side of Team Immune. However, the rest of the team is going to back up. Ven is going to be the one who does collect it. And remember, he is that mini rampage. He is building towards the augmentation. Should be able to get it on his net back. Goes into either a tyranny or some sort of other bruiser item and will completely bite the ankles off of Team Immune, especially with this mini prime. My only concern with it is it going to be still active during the next Fangtooth?
That is a good question. Maybe the Ashbringer could be next online here for the Tiny Titan man himself, but really, it's Ven's many men's in the driver's seat here so far. I'm going to be looking for Ven to get active with this purple buff, maybe push a tower, get a couple plates. They're still online for at least the next 3 minutes or so. Right now, it is Conte going with ManQ to do a little bit of an... The side has already been cleared. They've come up with nothing.
And Maya now hit level 9. That's an important break point for the Argus. It gives him the max rank on his alternate ability. That particle shredder means that he can just keep throwing it forever and ever and ever. Snapback Obliterator out. Conte just trying to block for as much as he can from ManQ. Does get hit once, is going to be able to survive, but is going to have to be forced to reset. And that in momentum is immediately going into the dual lane.
Oh, the blink off a cooldown. Bye-bye, Penguin. They've been pressuring him immediately as soon as that blink gets back up. I want to go back to that mid lane trade. I mean, you just highlighted it perfectly there, is that the Particle Shredder at max ability stacks is able to just run down ManQ. There's nothing he could do. He got burnt to a crisp. And then, taking shots for the president there was Conte to keep his mid laner up. So Argus, very dangerous right now. We're seeing a Typhoon as the crest being picked up from Bondru, my friend. What do you make of that?
That's going to be pretty meta at this point in time, especially the fact that they have got the auto attack augment. As soon as you get your passive online, those 4 hits, and get that AoE ability, you're going to gain a certain amount of attack speed depending on your level. So this gives you more boxing ability, gives you a bit of lifesteal as well as that extra dash means you can dodge the likes of a black hole, the likes of a knockup if you are lucky with that timing. And I think we're going to see that more and more until the augments get buffed or changed, especially for the fact that War really only has that one good augment. But enough about augments. Second Fangtooth is spawning in a second, and Neff is going to die.
Oh my gosh, that rock was thrown with precision. That was sublime from Ven to knock down Neff on the other side. The rest of the team being poked out as well. And a timely intervention for the Dawn side, knowing the second Fangtooth is up. They'll now be able to take position up around it. The Dust side, though, however, not going to give this one up easily.
Yeah, we got a grouping up from both teams. Jungler is still alive. Reckoning is on cooldown. If Conte wants to get into the pit, he could. But Team Immune, they're playing it safe. They know that they don't actually have to fight at this stage to take the game. It's only the second Fangtooth. They can play for the third. That out of combat move speed for many men's is extremely useful. It is a very valuable buff, but it's not game breaking. So instead of just having a larger deficit by going for a team fight and losing, they're just going to play it safe, make sure they can get up what farm they can, and just focus on the next 5 or so minutes.
I think that's a very disciplined play from them. They know that the third Fangtooth is when they're going to need to fight. So this is their opportunity to set their lanes, clear their jungles, get their next item online. Speaking of item, Bond Druid going for the Void Crystal, which only leads into World Breaker. So that's a very interesting choice there for him. We don't always see that item being picked up by folks. Ven spending a lot of time here in this dual lane. I can't let that be understated. Barely has made a trip into the off lane to try to contest over there.
It's worked out for the side of many men. That is for sure. The Bondroid is level 11. Morose only just hit to level 10. It's about a level and a half difference in this duo, which is a complete reversal compared to last game. Bondroid was really suffering on the server. Black Hole out from Manq. Blink followed through from Mayor. Conte was lurking in the rings, but I mean, this Feng Mao is level 8. He's not going to be able to really do anything to these solo laners who are multiple levels ahead of him.
And that's the issue we were kind of talking about at the top of the program, my friend, is that there's not enough CC to help the Feng Mao. He doesn't have his own CC. You need to help him by facilitating the lockdown so he can get the kills and burst people down. It was a great play there from Mayor. He has his own self-peel, right? He has the Dread Nova. He can use the Ether Crystal to pop himself up. He did expend the Blink, but he doesn't go down for it, and he's able to stay in lane. So that is huge, and that wastes time for the jungler. Comes up with nothing for the gank. Now he falls even further behind.
It's not actually too behind, because we can also see that Ben is the same level as Conte in this game. Both junglers haven't had the most success in the world. It has mainly been these laners just gaining the victory on their own. Now we can see the Penguin has done the rotation, has done the reset for this mini prime, getting those sentry wards out, but Secret also has got that crest up and running, trying to clear what he can. It does look like it's going to be a 4v4 currently, but Sagi also has this reset. Same with Neft, we might be seeing just a straight up 5v5 T fight for this mini prime.
Folks, get ready for pandemonium in the prime pit. All 10 members gathering around. This is the time that Team Immune has decided to fight, but it will be Many Men's. The troops summoned, the troops called here to Prime's house to take him down first, and it looks like they will be going for it. Yes, they do secure it now. It's about how does Team Immune engage? If they do at all, it looks like maybe a truce between these squads. Now it's Penguin. He's going to be looking forward. That Riplash takes a rock to the face instead. TI, maybe too late on the uptake there. Nobody goes down, but yet still they converge. It's going to be over the 2 camp. You can see at least 9 members here in this slight choke point. Once again, that Riplash, the all-important ability. Manq, he's like, all right, I had enough of this. He dives right in with the black hole, but immediately gets stunned right out of it. He does leave the torn space to allow his team to engage. Sagu goes down with a sliver of help, but is able to stay alive.
Conte
uses the crest to get that shield, but it is Mayor with the Synaptic Obliterator to find a cleanup kill onto the Penguin. He's having chicken for dinner. One goes down after all of that. The Falcon, a very disciplined play from both of these squads.
It's disciplined, but also, why is that happening? Mini Prime has been already taken. That was all over a 2 camp. It doesn't really make much sense for Team Immune. What I would prefer for them to have done is, if they were already saying to themselves, we're not going to actually fight the mini prime, why not send Neft to the duo lane? Why not let him get all of that farm on his own, get that solo experience, maybe even get a tower, and make sure he is even stronger for this third Fangtooth? Because now that is spawning. Many men, they have the mini prime, they have got an extra kill during that fight, and now they're all alive for this third Fangtooth, and this is going to be a game deciding. If many men gets this, Team Immune have to basically go up Mount Everest to come back.
It's going to be very difficult, but as we look at the little check marks above each player, only 2 ultimates online for VVMN, and that's the Cryoseism and the Fury of Heavens. That's their 2 big Wombo combo ultimates. They need to pair those together if they want to win this fight. The other side, though, Black Hole, the Earth Shatter, the Stoneforge Soul, the Inner Fire, everything on the docket for TI. They are locked and loaded, but it's about the engage. How do they get into this fight? How do they find a pick? And it's got to be back on Penguin. This Richter needs to yoink somebody. Right now, though, it is VVMM who are going to start the Fangtooth once again. Conte is here, though, could go for the steal if they can get there in time. No, they cannot. Now the Inner Fire, as the skewer has been laid down, that is the arrow slicing through, and it's the 2 Wombo combos. They're dead. They used both of those abilities to no effect. Now it's time for Team Immune to put the syringe in, and they will find a triple kill here for the side of Nef, but they lose the objective. That's the 3rd Fangtooth for the Dawn side.
That's the 3rd Fangtooth. That's what many men wanted. But they didn't want 3 deaths afterwards. Sponju did such a good job of delaying the entry from the side of Team Immune with the help of Secret. But Team Immune, instead of not true tanks, So with the inner fire, with the black hole, with Conte and Morose just basically doing whatever they could, that took them down. They got some shutdowns. They also killed Mayor on the back end because he was stuck at the back of the pit, didn't have any way out, didn't have any sort of blink to escape. So they got some decent gold, got some decent shutdowns from that. But again, they lost the objective. How impactful is that going to be for the 20-minute mark, for that Orb Prime, for 5 minutes in time when that Primal Fountain spawns?
Very impactful indeed. Off the back of that, though, they do get the mid tier 1 tower, so a little bit of extra gold in their pocket, and they've kind of leveled the kill score to just 1. But still, the amount of experience and gold you get for killing the Fangtooth cannot be understated. As we take a look across the board to see how the levels are shaken out, everybody pretty much about even here. It looks like the Fang Mao now ahead with a level 12 online. So they're going to be feeling pretty good going into this one. Just trades across the map.
This is a Slap City in the solar lane. Bondrude level 14, Morose level 13. Damage is coming out, but both of them have got decent healing. Bondrude from his Omnivamp, Morose from his passive. So they're not going to be actually in any danger of dying from either side. It's going to be more on this duo side. We can see that Ven and Maya are coming in from the back end. Conte as well as Mancu might get caught.
And hopefully not, because that's a bulk of their magical damage. Did use the Torn Space in that one. Has the Black Hole online again. Could be disaster in the duo lane, depending on which way it goes right now. Morose, he's the one under pressure. His tower just getting sliced by this, auto attack build Bond Druid on the Ice Queen. That's a good little chunk of gold going his way. Still, though, these teams, they're gearing up for the next fight. We've seen how patient and disciplined they've been throughout this entire series. In about 30 seconds or so, Big Prime will be on the menu. That's when these teams are going to clash next.
It is crazy to me that we've only got 9 kills in this game, considering how much action there has been. A lot of these moves have not actually been successful. They have been read by the enemy team. They have been neutralized in a way, but there's always something happening on the map. There's always some sort of play trying to be set up, and just most of the time, the IQ of these players has managed to force it. With the Orb Prime now spawned with 20 minutes on the map, that is going to be really what VVMM is looking at. They're not going to actually go for it until Sagu returns from that side of the lane, because he also, Bondrude is going to the dual lane and might also be focusing on this tier 1 tower, trying to kill Neft, and then rotating over to the Omnivamp. There is multiple members of Team Mindo on this side of the map.
Could be a very precarious situation for Neff, but you always feel like he's got eyes in the back of his head. There's some good ward coverage there as well. But right now, I mean, Conte, he's on the red side jungle while the Prime is active. So if they are wary to that, if they do have the vision down, they could start it up and potentially finish it. So they have to be careful. They have to be able to track that jungler's movements. Looks like right now, VMMM going to maybe go for a quick reset before they go for that Prime. The Fangtooth will also be up in a couple seconds here as well. Could be a trade between these objectives, Falcon.
It's going to be interesting to see what VVMM wants to do for their first move. They have the advantage in terms of momentum, in terms of having a larger threat with their pick potential, that Rampage Rock, that Dread Nova. Team Mean can't really walk into the river without having multiple members there just to make sure that they don't die. We can see Penguin is doing that now, yes, but there was always a chance of him walking into multiple members. But he needs to check the Primal. He needs to make sure that VVMM is not starting it, because if they did, they would have to instantly make a decision on, do we contest it or do we go to the Orb Prime?
For sure. I mean, that's your job as the support. It literally says in the game, put down wards, give vision for your team, even if you have to sacrifice yourself. That's an asterisk, but he does it well there, recognizes there's nobody on the dinosaur, so maybe the robot is next. About fighting in these corridors, this is where Penguin will be the most effective. The skewer can connect onto multiple members. He just has to, it's a lot that rests on the support shoulders.
We can see also still on the opposite side of the map, Bondrude is continuing his split push in basically the entire set. It's been a nuisance to Team Mean, trying to widen the map, make as much macro opportunity for the rest of his team as possible, and always gets the first rotation as well. Now going towards the mid lane, seeing if he can find any sort of pick from that side, whilst leaving Manq on the opposite side of the map. That is going to be the call to start the Orb Prime already down to 10k. Argus does so much damage to this objective.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that particle shredding, aptly named. I thought Manq was going to flash that wave. Looks like he's not, but we do have an engagement going out here. Causes Penguin to expend the blink again. Conte, he's now diving in. He does have the Salvation online to give him a little extra durability. There's the Stone Forge Soul to lock a couple people in, but they don't get locked down. It's Penguin the first to fall. Finally, Manq goes over the top with the black hole, and it is Neft in the back line, tossing an arrow after arrow, looking like Katniss Everdeen gets a double kill in exchange for the support.
They're going for the Orb Prime. They want to make sure they get as much advantage as they can. Ven is still alive, though. Ven is still healthy. The team, they realize just they're backing up. They don't want this fight. They don't want anything else to do with this. And that is going to be the smart decision. They got to shut down on Revenant. They got that extra money onto Neft, of all people as well. This Sparrow is their shining hope. It is their chance in this game, because we have seen in the past how much damage a Sparrow can do if you just let it rip. 5-2-1, 240 CS, 3.5 items, actually ahead of Sagu at this point. And just look at the CS difference between Revenant and the Sparrow. That is such a big difference.
My goodness. I mean, we know that Team Immune, their strategy is 4 protect 1. We are going to jump in, dive in, bomb in, whatever it is to distract the team long enough for Neft to just pop, take everybody down. Because as long as he's the last one standing, he'll have the damage to take out any structure, any objective, any core, which is the ultimate prize in this game. It's about how does VVMN protect themselves against the onslaught of arrows. Right now, though, all the check marks starting to gleam once again as we wait for the Primal Fangtooth to be on the board, and it looks like they're going to start it. VMMM once again. Here's Bondrewd with the Glacial Charge.
Damage from Marcus
Frost as well. Doesn't do enough to cut off the side of Dawn. There's a massive Riftlash. That is going to be huge. The Skewer as well, and there goes Ben. The Jungler is dead. No hunt online. This is when the Dusk will strike. The moon has now risen upon the Sanctuary, and the Primal Fang, the first of the game, will go the way of Team Immune. They get a couple of exit frags as well, and it is Neft lifting this team. Can they get one more? It's Secret against the world. He dives right in, and it's another double kill for the Neft.
They're still going. Morose is chasing Sagu off. The Reckoning has been used on Neft. Does clip Penguin, but he loses his own life. What just happened? Penguin is an absolute goat at support in this game. What a Riplash. That is game deciding to hit it onto Ven to get the follow-up kill. That was the jungler. That was the guarantee of the Primal. And now they get the Orb Prime as well. It's just such a comeback for Team Immune from that first attempt at the Orb Prime to now this only 3-4 minutes later.
My friend, we've been talking about this since the beginning of the program. It's that one hook. Penguin is the key. And that time, he got the largest Marlin in the sea, and that was Ven. They locked him down immediately. The other thing is, we're scaling, and eventually Neft becomes unstoppable. He is just cutting through everybody, and now they are double bubble buffed. There's still a couple of towers on the board for the taking that will just accelerate them that much more.
Yeah, if they can give all of that gold over to Neft as well, just allow him to finish either that Dust Devil or most likely the Imperator before the next big team fights, that is going to be such a great buff for Team Immune as well. There's quite a lot of standing gold for them to take on this map. Tier 2 towers in every single lane. Bondrewd has pushed out the solo side, so they're not really going to be able to get for that. But the mid lane has already gone down. We can see that Rose is pressing down the Jura lane as well. Bondrewd now returning to the party. Decent hits might be going down.
It's a big rock onto Penguin. This Dreadnought over there to keep him in place as well. The Skewer in desperation. Now Manq goes in with the black hole. It sucks up a couple in Secret. He was not long for this world. And of course, who else picks up the frag? It will be Neft. They're looking for a couple more. Bondrewd this time gets the yoink. He is out of position. He has to blink away, but Neft will find them. The arrows hits the bullseye. Down goes the offlaner. All the while, it's another inhibitor down. They take the 2. They're looking to take more. The core exposed. Not many members left to defend it. Sagu finally claps back, but it's just 50. On the support. do
Minions.
they go for it? They're expending
They become
everything they
minions.
got here, Falcon. It will be Team Immune to take it all. It's a
decisive. They didn't reset. They didn't wait for anything else to happen. They knew they were in the driver's seat, and they just rushed down mid. They rushed down duo, and they just took down one by one. Tier 2 tower, inhibitor, a few kills here and there, and then the core. That was so. What a comeback from Team Immune. I know I said in the middle of the game once, many minutes, got that third fang tooth that they had to climb Everest. But apparently, Team Immune, they're season climbers. They don't care about that.
I think they've been to the top of Everest, meditated with some monks, and found nirvana and discipline because that is what they did. They knew they were giving up a couple of those objectives, but they knew for Protect 1, we got Neft at the certain level, the 5-item power spike. He's unstoppable. And that's exactly what happened. They took 2 team fights. They were able to run it all the way down. They could shatter the core in an instant. Perfect, immaculate, disciplined play from the side of Team Immune. They will move on to the grand finals, guaranteed money for them. My friend, it's been an absolute pleasure casting this historic season between these two fantastic squads. Predecessor fans, we're going to send it back to the desk to break it all down.
What a series we just